Hi everyone, this is Excel Chapter 1, Pause and Practice 3, the first movie. I'm on page E1-40. We're continuing our work on Paradise Lakes Resort and exploring what Excel can do for us. In this video, in this Pause and Practice, we're going to look at adjusting columns, adjusting rows so that it fits the data. We're going to put a new row in for information that we forgot. We're going to hide it for a while. We're going to put some borders, and we're going to merge and center the titles. Looking at sheet information, we really haven't talked very much about or at all about what this means, sheet 1. So how do we use that? What does it mean? So that's what we're going to kind of explore in this one. So I'm on page E1-40, step number 3. So we need to change the width of columns B through I, and there's a couple different ways to do it, and you can do it from the letters at the top here, and you can also do it in this format on the Home tab, this format column width selection. So I think that's how we're going to do that right now. We're going to select B through I, and let me just show you. I can go between here and click and drag, and it'll select it'll make all of those columns the same. But if you want to be precise, you can come after I have selected, and once again, watch my mouse. It's the black down arrow. At that point, click, hold, and keep on the letters all the way to I. That's not selecting a cell, that's selecting the column. Format, column width, and now we can actually put in the column width. So I was pretty close when I drag it. So we're going to put a 14. All of those are the same size then. And Wednesday fits. See, I probably would have done a little bit more to give a little more buffer, but that's okay. So now what we want to do is we want to make row 4 and row 10 a little bit deeper, deeper in height here. But they're not next to each other, right? So first of all, I need to select the first one. So I take my mouse, I go left. When it changes to that black arrow pointing to the row, I click. So now my row 4 is selected, but now I got to get down here to 10 and do the same thing. So that's that key, that control key, the CTRL key. I'm going to come down here, and on 10, I have the black arrow going to the right. I'm going to click. So now, if you look at those, you can see 4 and 10 are selected. So now I can come up to Format, Row Height, and in this case, I'm going to make it, 24. Okay, so there, and this works the same way. I could drag it like that, or I could be precise up here. Okay, so I'm going to click off of it, and it looks good. I'm going to do a save, so those changes are not lost. And now I need to insert a row. So I realized that I forgot the category of food and beverage. And I want the food and beverage to go between equipment rentals and apparel. So in Excel, when you're inserting something, so if I'm inserting a column, it'll insert to the left. So I always want to pick to the right of what I want to insert. If I want to insert a row, I always want to go below because it'll insert above where you're sitting. However many you have selected, it'll insert that same number. So if I have 1, 2, 3, 4 rows selected here, I used my black arrow there and selected, and I did insert, it will insert 4. Same thing here. If I selected 3 columns and I went to insert, it would insert 3 blank columns. I just want 1 inserted. So I'm going to select 9 because I want the new row to go above where I'm at. Okay, so now I'm going to do insert, and I want to find the oh, sorry. right click, insert, and there it goes. Okay. So now in A9 I could type food and beverage, and notice that it's indented because it took on the attributes of the surrounding cells, and it's also gray. It's the same font size, so it's kind of cool. And okay, I have it in there, so I know I have to do it, but I don't have my numbers yet. So I want to hide it for now. So I want to go to 9, right click, hide. The other way we could have done that is in the home, cells, format, hide and unhide. Okay, that's a lot of steps though. Like I like my right click hide, but recognize that there is this way. Format, just like we did row height and column width. There's a visibility group for hiding and unhiding. Rows, columns, sheets, and then unhiding. Okay. So the next thing we want to do is we want to center titles across a selection. So there's really a couple ways we can do this. What we're going to do is we're going to center these two heading rows in between columns A through I. We're centering them. We're not merging them. There's also this merge and center. You can only merge and center a row at a time. The technique that we're using right now, where we're just doing an center across selection, we're not merging it, so we can do multiple rows. Okay, and I'll show you and I'll show you the other way and what the difference is. So I want to select A1 through I2, right? So whatever's in this first cell of the range that I have selected, I'm going to center it through this range. So I'm going to go up here to alignment and do the dialog box launcher and get this. In the alignment tab, horizontal, we want to change general to center across selection. Okay, so it puts these, whatever's in A1, see it's still in A1 if we look at our formula bar, but it centers it in that range, but they're still individual cells, right? So I'm going to undo that for a minute, and I'm going to select the same range. I'm only going to do row 1 though. If I do merge and center, it does the same thing. Hey, it ends up, but look, there's only one cell. It's all merged. There's only an A1. There is no longer a B1, a C1. Okay. Oops. So what we want is the center across selection so that each individual cell remains there. So we still can go to these individual ones. But the text that is in these two cells are centered visually across, but they still reside in these cells, and we can tell that by the formula bar. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is rename a worksheet and change the color. So let's talk a little bit about what these sheets do. So just this file in Excel is what's known as a workbook. Okay, so there's one. This file is my workbook is HJMPPE1-4, right? That's the file name, that's the workbook. Within any book, you have pages, right? You can turn the page, turn the page. Those pages in Excel are represented by these sheet tabs. So we can have many different sheets and have similar data, you know, so it could be, you could have each of these be a month of the year that you're doing your accounting. It could be customers, it could be accounts, it could be you know, classes with their grades if you're keeping them at whatever. So this is what's known as using 3D, three-dimensional. You can have multiple tabs there. So it'll, when you create them, it just says sheet 1. Well, that's not a very meaningful name, right? When you have multiple sheets, you're not going to remember what each of them are. So we're going to make this a more meaningful name. I'm going to double click on where it says sheet 1 and see how it's gray now. It's selected. Don't delete, just start typing. Okay, so we're going to start typing Cass Lake, and here's the key. You have to hit the enter key. All right, so now that's selected. So now instead of having the sheet 1, which you have no idea what that means. It actually is Cass Lake, which is one of 4 locations in Paradise Lakes Resort. So that's cool. So the next thing that I might want to do would be to change the tab color. So I'm pointing to Cass Lake, and I'm going to right click and pick tab color. And you'll think, why do I need to do this? Well, so let's do green accent 1, darker 50. Okay, so it has this kind of like an ombre or where it changes from a lighter to a darker. That is the indicator that this is the sheet that you're on. Okay, when we create another sheet, the sheets that you're not on will have a solid color. So it's another visual method to make sure you're doing the right thing. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and stop this movie. I'm going to pick up on step number 9, and then, oh, you know what? There's only step 9. I'm going to try and get it through. So we want to copy and rename. So I want to make a second sheet. So I'm going to right click on Cass Lake, and then I'm going to pick Move or Copy. Here's the big thing. If you want to copy it, you got to make sure that you put your check mark, and we want it to be at the end. I'm going to do OK. I get a second sheet. Oh, and look, you can really see here. See how it's solid and this one is not? That's telling me I'm on this second Cass Lake. Well, that doesn't make sense. I don't want this to be Cass Lake. I want this to be, so I'm going to double click, Breezy Point, enter. And I want Breezy Point to be a different color so I can really see. So I'm going to right click, tab color, orange, accent 4, darker 25. Cool. So now you have Cass Lake. You're on it because I clicked on it, Breezy Point. So make sure you're on Breezy Point, and I want you to select B5 through H10. Just this numbers in the middle, not the formulas. Hit your delete key, and now for Breezy Point, you're ready to start putting their numbers in as opposed to having Cass Lakes. I'm going to go ahead and save it. We're done with the Pause and Practice 1-3. I'll pick up the movie on the next one. Thank you.